The night was inky black, the moon a mere sliver in the sky. Rain hammered against my windshield, the wipers barely able to keep up. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles turning white. The road stretched out before me, a seemingly endless ribbon of asphalt disappearing into the darkness. I had taken this route many times before, but tonight was different. Tonight, something was terribly wrong. My headlights cut through the rain, casting eerie shadows on the trees that lined the road. The forest felt like it was closing in on me, branches clawing at the edges of the road as if trying to snatch me away. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes following my every move. I glanced at the clock on the dashboard. It was nearly midnight, and I was still hours away from home. I cursed myself for agreeing to work the late shift, but the extra money was too tempting to pass up, and I needed it to pay the bills. As I drove deeper into the night, the rain intensified, coming down in sheets. Visibility was nearly zero, and I could barely make out the road ahead. I considered pulling over and waiting for the storm to pass, but the thought of being stuck out here in the middle of nowhere was even more unsettling. Then, just as I was about to lose hope, I saw it, a faint glow in the distance. It was the sign for a rest stop. Relief washed over me, and I sped up, eager to get out of the storm. Pulling into the rest stop, I was surprised to find it deserted. Usually, there were at least a few trucks parked here, but tonight, I was the only one. I parked my car and turned off the engine, taking a moment to catch my breath. The rain pounded on the roof, a relentless drumbeat that seemed to echo in the stillness of the night. I grabbed my phone and checked for any missed calls or messages. There was nothing. No signal, no connection to the outside world. It was as if I had entered a pocket of isolation, cut off from everything. With a sigh, I decided to get out of the car and stretch my legs. I grabbed my umbrella and stepped into the rain. The air was heavy with the scent of wet earth, and the sound of the rain was deafening. I made my way to the small shelter at the center of the rest stop and sat down on one of the benches. As I sat there trying to shake off the unease that had settled over me, I heard a rustling in the trees. I looked around, but I couldn't see anything. It was probably just a raccoon or some other nocturnal creature, I told myself. But then the rustling grew louder, closer. I strained my eyes, trying to pierce the darkness, and that's when I saw it. A figure, tall and shadowy, lurking just beyond the reach of the dim light. Fear clawed at my throat as I watched the figure step into the open. It was a man, or at least it looked like one. He was drenched, his clothes sticking to his body, and his face was hidden beneath the hood of his jacket. "Hey!" I called out, my voice trembling. "Are you okay?" There was no response. The man just stood there unmoving, as if he hadn't heard me. I felt a shiver run down my spine, and my heart began to race. I knew I should go back to my car, lock the doors, and call for help, but I was paralyzed by fear. And then, the man started to move, slowly, deliberately, towards me. My breath caught in my throat as he approached, his footsteps muffled by the rain. "Stay back!" I shouted, my voice quivering. But he didn't listen. He just kept coming, his hooded head tilted slightly to the side as if he were studying me. I stumbled backward, my umbrella slipping from my hand and falling to the ground. I turned and ran for my car, fumbling for my keys. Panic coursed through me as I fumbled with the door, finally yanking it open and jumping inside. I locked the doors and started the engine, my heart pounding in my chest. I glanced in the rearview mirror, and there he was. The man standing just a few feet away, his hood still obscuring his face. I slammed my foot on the gas pedal and peeled out of the rest stop, the tires screeching on the wet pavement. I didn't stop until I was miles away, the rain still pouring down around me. As I drove, my mind raced with questions. Who was that man? What did he want? And why did he seem so otherworldly? I never got the answers to those questions. I eventually made it home, shaken but unharmed. But that night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't escape the feeling that I had stumbled upon something sinister, something that should have remained hidden in the darkness of the night. And I knew, deep down, that I had narrowly escaped a fate far worse than I could have ever imagined. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like.